No one ever waited for me. Not at school, not at home, not anywhere. I was always the one who showed up late to everything, the one who needed the extra explanation, the one who wasn't gifted. But no one tells you what happens when you grow up, and no one's waiting for you. You don't get stronger, you become something else. You learn to run without knowing where to go, to endure without asking why, to be alone without questioning if it's wrong, because if you stop, you disappear. Once they forgot me on a school field trip. I was 12. Everyone got back on the bus. I was in the bathroom. No one noticed I was gone. And no, it's not a funny story. It's the kind that stays stuck to your ribs like cold in your bones. Do you know what it feels like to realize you could vanish and nothing would change? You learn no one's coming to save you. If you don't run, no one sees you. If you stay behind, you freeze. The world doesn't slow down just because you're scared. You become the kind of person who expects nothing. No answers, no hugs, no apologies. And that changes you. I remember another time in high school. We had this important group presentation. Everyone had a part. I had worked for weeks, practiced, rehearsed in front of a mirror, in front of nothing. The teacher skipped me. "We're out of time," he said. That's when I understood something. Being ready isn't enough. You have to shout. You have to push. You have to exist with force. Because if you don't make noise, you don't get seen. I didn't cry, didn't complain. I walked home with the whole presentation still in my backpack, and I started planning, in silence, how I'd become impossible to ignore. So, when I talk about motivation, I'm not talking about smiles or Pinterest quotes. I'm talking about the kind of motivation that's born in silence, built with anger, fueled by hunger, that need to prove something, even if you don't know who to prove it to. The kind that burns quietly, doesn't ask for likes but leaves marks. The motivation of the ones who weren't chosen, but made themselves inevitable. A Yale University study showed that kids who go through repeated rejection develop a sharp sensitivity to anticipate being disliked. It's not paranoia, it's survival. A different way of reading the world, with more caution, with sharper edges. Another study from the University of Michigan found that social exclusion activates the same parts of the brain as physical pain. Being ignored hurts like a broken bone. And yet, many of us have lived that way for years, hurt but functional, broken but upright, walking with fractured bones inside, but still moving forward. You get used to not fitting in, to being too weird, too slow, too different, and eventually you realize that the things they rejected were actually your edge. Because while they rushed where everyone else was rushing, you were learning to draw your own maps. While they copied formulas, you were inventing language. While they chased approval, you found direction. You become a master at surviving with little, at creating from lack, at turning wounds into vision. Of course it hurts. I won't romanticize it. There are nights when being invisible aches more than a punch, when silence feels heavier than failure, when indifference is a slow way to disappear. But there's a kind of freedom in it too. When no one's waiting for you, no one controls you either. You don't have to live up to anyone's idea. You can mutate, rebuild, become deadly at what you love, before anyone sees it coming. You're an anomaly, and anomalies aren't explained, they arrive. Sometimes I think we're like plants that grew in the dark. No sun, no water, no guide, but we kept growing. And by doing that, we became different, tougher, stranger, ours. And then one day, years later, we bloom. And the same people who never waited for us ask, where did this come from? We came from silence, from rage, from abandonment, from every no turned into fuel, from every closed door used as a stepping stone, from every blank stare turned into a mirror of power. I wasn't late. You were just early. I was forming far from the noise. And now that I've arrived, I'm not asking for permission. Because growing up when no one's waiting for you turns you into something else. And that something else doesn't need to be waited for. It just needs space to move. To move until the world, ready or not, has to make room.